What's up guys, Jeff Cavalier, athletenex.com. Calisthenics, the ultimate manifestation of the strength and control of the human body in space. As a matter of fact, they're an irreplaceable part of a complete athletic training approach because at some point, regardless of your achievements in the weight room, you're gonna have to stand on your own 2 feet, literally, and put your body to the test in competition. Today I'm ranking the top 10 best calisthenic exercises for helping you to build muscle. And what you won't find here are exercises like this, or this, or this. And while I have great respect for those that can make these exercises look so damn easy, they're missing some key components that are actually creating the opportunity for the muscle growth that you're seeking. Now look, I'm a big fan of calisthenics myself, incorporating them into almost every single one of my workouts. However, even the ones you see here are not going to make it to the list because for the same very reasons, they're not going to drive the muscle growth that we're seeking. That's relegated to the top 10 here that I've chosen. That being said, let's start breaking them down one by one. And we kick the list off here with one of my favorite exercises for building muscle when it comes to the back. And no, we're not up to the pull-up bar just yet. Instead, we do something here called the human pullover. And what this is designed to do, again, is to overload the lats from the top to the bottom, from origin to insertion, to build a better lat. And we're overloading because we're utilizing our entire body weight. This is not an ab-driven exercise. It could be if you do it incorrectly. Instead of curling your trunk up by using your abs, you drive your body up by pulling your arms down. Think more straight arm push down to get your body up rather than lifting your pelvis into the air using your abs. If you do this exercise, guys, you will create overload instantly because of the weight of your own body. It's an effective exercise, albeit a hard one, but it will drive muscle growth guaranteed. Exercise number, Jesse, I hate these stupid transitions. Can I just do it my way, please?
No, this is fun.
Exercise number 2 is another one with lat involvement, but if you do this right, we're gonna turn it into a great bicep building exercise, and it's the classic chin up. What's great about this is it has all the components of a bicep contraction. It's got that flexion of the shoulder, it's got supination here of the forearm, and of course it has the flexion of the elbow as you get towards the top of the movement. But what's key is maintaining the right relationship of your body to the bar when you do the exercise. Don't get too close, as I mentioned many times before, but maintain some distance between your body and the bar at the top to keep the focus more on the biceps and less on the lats. And I promise you, because once again, you're lifting your own body weight, the overload you're seeking is readily available, making the gains that you're seeking much easier to come by. Exercise number 3 is one of my favorite ways to build shoulders, even if you have access to a full gym. Because we're talking about a closed chain shoulder building exercise using just this wall over here. It's a handstand push-up. And what's great about this, again, I mentioned closed chain. This is one of the very few opportunities you have to do a shoulder exercise with an overhead pressing motion where your hands are still in contact with the ground, which activates the kinetic chain in a different way. It stabilizes the scapula differently because they're not in this open chain environment of pressing the bar up overhead, and it still gives you the chance to push the weight of your own body instantly, once again creating that overload that's necessary to push and drive those new muscle gains. Exercise number 4 is another one that I would include in any training program, even if I had access to a full gym. And while we're talking about it, guys, these calisthenic exercises are those that actually should be incorporated into every single training program because they perfectly complement what it is you're trying to do when you have access to weights. What's the one we're talking about here? It's the glute ham raise. And you can see with this exercise, what it does is it incorporates both hamstring activation and glute activation, and more importantly, ties them together. In function, if you can allow the glutes to drive the function of the hamstrings by contracting and stabilizing first, you're going to get not only a better contraction of the hamstrings, but a safer one where they're not overloaded with the responsibility that the glutes are not taking part in. The bottom line is this will create gains in the size of both the hamstrings and the glutes if you perform it regularly, and it's the reason why it sits here squarely at the number 4 spot in our list of the best calisthenic exercises. And that brings us to number 5, the halfway mark of the list, one of the most classic muscle building exercises out there, and it's the push-up.
But Jeff, you said that push-ups are killing my gains.
No, my friend, not listening is killing your gains. Push-ups are actually okay. Let me explain here for a second, guys. So we're talking about push-ups. I've mentioned them many times in the past, why I like them and why I don't. First of all, you gotta do them right. Those last 2 inches of extension on the push-up matter if you want to get a complete chest contraction. But more importantly, the variation of the push-up matters. Don't stick to the version that you can do 30, 40, 50, or 100 reps of. Instead, find the version that challenges you to do maybe 10 or 15 at most. And we know that there's plenty of variations out there. It's gonna take the exercise that I can do many of and instantly make it more challenging and difficult. Who cares how many you actually ultimately do? The fact is you create the overload that's necessary to drive the muscle growth that you're seeking. As we move to exercise number 6, it's important to understand that your abs are muscles too, and they too can grow if you apply the right resistance. So in the absence of weights, what do? Well, you use the weights that you carry around every day, and that's your legs. And the best way to do that is with a hanging leg raise. So when we go to a hanging exercise here, we take the weight of the legs and lift them up in space, which creates that necessary overload. Remember, resistance is resistance, whatever form it comes in. We can create hypertrophy and growth. And when it comes to the abs, it's actually something that you want, because the more they grow, the more they pop, particularly at lower body fat levels. This exercise is a keeper. And speaking of suspending your body in space, the dip is another exercise where we get an opportunity to do that. And again, it's one that needs to be included regardless of whether you have access to a gym or you don't. The dip is a great chest, shoulder, and tricep builder, and it actually becomes a lot more difficult more quickly rather than the push-up, because you're suspending your entire weight of your body in space rather than having your feet to offload some of your own body weight like we do in the push-up. The fact is we can do this anywhere, guys, whether you have access to a dip station or even, as I've mentioned many times before, a kitchen counter corner. Wherever we have to do to get it done, just make sure you do, because this is one of the most effective when it comes to building muscle in our bodyweight exercise arsenal. Back up at the bar here for exercise number 8, and we're talking pull-ups.
Hey, can I work in with you?
Bad timing.
You want me to wait?
I think so.
Okay.
As I was saying, exercise number 8, the pull-up. And we know the versatility of this exercise extends beyond just its ability to build the lats. We know that it can be an overall back builder, hitting the entire back, even stabilizing through those important lower lumbar paraspinal muscles, as you can see here. We can even work the arms in different parts of the arms, making it the perfect complement to both the chin-up and the human pullover exercises already included. The fact is, you can't escape the pull-up here, whether you're training in the gym with weights or whether you have access to no weights at all. It's the king of the upper body bodyweight exercises. Speaking of those upper back muscles, you know we're not going to get through an entire list without some variation of a face pull in a Jeff Cavaliere video, but guess what? We have a bodyweight version of a face pull that we can do right here in a doorway. This is the doorway face pull, and we get the same benefits we do from a regular face pull. And we can easily overload the muscles here that we're targeting, because they tend to be very small muscles that respond fairly quickly to overload, because we don't oftentimes subject them to that. We're talking about the rotator cuff, the rear delts, and also the rhomboids and mid-scap muscles. Again, it doesn't take a lot here, and oftentimes angling your body differently in the doorway is going to alter the amount of overload you're creating, but it does so in a safe, controlled way that keeps those gains coming everywhere, allowing no muscles to remain untouched. And that brings us to exercise number 10, proving once again, thou shalt not skip leg day. We have the levitation squat. And what I like here is, again, the overload possible from a single leg exercise, but without some of the negatives that might come along with the pistol squat. With the levitation squat, we're able to keep a much more neutral pelvis rather than the extreme posterior tilt we get from the pistol. We have much less knee flexion here, which allows for people that have some knee issues or meniscal issues to perform the exercise pain-free. And also, it's actually a much easier exercise for beginners to start with, but still not compromise the gains they can see from a single leg exercise. The fact is, guys, it's the perfect exercise to complement that all-important glute ham raise we already covered, and it's the perfect way to end this list of the best calisthenic exercises for building muscle. And there you have it, guys. The best bodyweight exercises when building muscle is your goal. Remember, there's a lot of things you can do that are far greater difficulty, and actually guys that can do them with far less difficulty. The fact is, when it comes to building muscle, these are making my list, and these are the ones I want you to focus on. And speaking of, guys, I have an entire bodyweight training program that requires nothing at all but your own bodyweight. It's called Athlean Zero, available over at athleanx.com. If you found the video helpful, leave your comments and thumbs up below. Tell me what else you want to see. I'll do my best to cover that for you. And also make sure you click subscribe and turn your notifications so you never miss a new video when we put one out. All right, guys, see you soon.